Today I will show you how I got my reaction time from 216 milliseconds down to 163 milliseconds, and that in only 60 days. I will show you what a good reaction time is, even for pros and athletes, and what kind of reaction times there are, plus what kind of training method I use to achieve my goal. Hey there boys and girls, my name is Lucky, and today I'm going to help you improve your reaction time. Before we get into what you need to do, we first need to acquire the knowledge needed to understand reaction time. There are three categories of reaction time. The first one is simple reaction time, then recognition reaction time, and then choice reaction time. We'll mainly focus on simple reaction time here, which is comparable to the human benchmark test or holding an angle with a rifle or knob and shooting on reaction. We'll also focus on reaction time in regards to visual stimuli and not auditory stimuli. Visual stimuli take the brain 20 to 40 milliseconds to process, whereas auditory stimuli only need 8 to 10. So just that you know, you react faster by hearing by approximately 12 to 30 milliseconds. Now, since we got the definitions out of the way, we can talk about actual reaction times. For a long time, there was a myth that reaction time declines rapidly with age, and by the time you're 40, you have the reaction time of a rock. Not the rock, a rock. However, the actual reaction time decline is a lot less than expected. The average reaction time is estimated to be around 275 milliseconds, and the yearly decline is only 2 to 6 milliseconds per decade. Not per year. Also, your reaction time peaks at around 24 years before it starts declining, according to the study here. And yes, this also means that when you're 16, you probably haven't reached your full potential yet. Of course, this slightly varies from person to person, and there's always some outliers, since we have slightly different results for peak reaction time in this study for Olympic male sprinters. Their peak reaction time has been measured between 26 and 29 years old. Based on this, we can conclude, or could conclude, that you don't immediately decline in reaction time, but you stay at your peak for a little bit. Olympic sprinter Usain Bolt had a reaction time of 165 milliseconds during the 2012 Olympics in London. I thought, as the fastest man alive, he's a good starting point to show here. However, if you check by reaction time and not the actual overall race, there are 4 people that reacted faster than him. And if you want to find the lowest reaction time for the 100-meter sprint for the 2012 Olympics, it was in the women's division by Kellyanne Baptiste with 128 milliseconds reaction time. Anything below 100 milliseconds, by the way, is considered humanly impossible and is considered a false start. Or like we would say in CS, a pre-fire. Now, I said earlier I would focus on visual reaction time, and of course for the 100-meter sprint I reacted to an auditory stimuli, but I found it interesting nonetheless to show that even top athletes can have some variance in their reaction time performance. Now let's move the subject over to gaming. By looking at pro players, we can see their reaction times measured on human benchmark test. Simple here shows a reaction time of 167 milliseconds from 5 years ago. Similar to Sinatra with 166 milliseconds, and Tens went as low as 135, which is insanely fast. It is said that most pro players average around 150 milliseconds for simple reaction time to visual stimuli, which means I got pretty damn close as an old geezer. So how did I do it? Reaction time is genetic and can only be trained to be faster between 10 to 20%. So that means if your reaction time is 200 milliseconds, the best improvement training can provide you is 160 milliseconds. However, that is not the whole story, because if this is you in this example, how do you know that 200 milliseconds is your basic reaction time? So before we train our reaction time, we have to make sure we are at a base reaction time. This is the boring part that nobody wants to hear, but it's important and my results speak for themselves, I would say. Your reaction time is affected by tons of stuff. Now, the main ones you have to take care of are sleep, hydration, optional exercise and diet. First of all, sleep. I know many gamers have a degenerate sleep schedule, and trust me, I've been there, but endless studies have shown that sleep deprivation and not getting enough rest at night leads to poorer performance during the day. Which means your actual reaction time might be 200, but because you only sleep 5 hours every night, you are up at 240 milliseconds instead. And if you go through the training to shave off those 10 to 20%, you would only go down to 202, tricking yourself out of your own potential. So, before we train, we need to make sure that you are operating at normal levels. Get regular rest for a week, don't only eat junk food and drink some water. Very basic. Personally, I also started running and working out twice a week, but I'm sure you can do without that, as most pros aren't known for being into working out, except my brother, my friend, Pasha Biceps. Now, with that one out of the way, after you've done this for 1 week, you can now take the test to find out your base reaction time, unaffected by negative factors. Quick tip, a higher stimulus equals faster reaction time. So getting closer to your monitor and increasing brightness could actually help. But this is where the training begins. In my case, I combined 2 simple things. playing more and adding training sessions back into my days. Generally, playing more will make you more familiar with the game, so you want to establish a baseline level of play. Now, more importantly, you want to challenge yourself while training. I was training against bots, and even though they would not shoot me or punish me for missing, I improved a lot with this method. When you play in deathmatch or with a mode with other punishments, it is harder for you to progress, because you exchange training time for waiting time. Also, you could just get rolled. Now, you want to motivate yourself to push for better performance. This could be as simple as trying to not have more than 3 bots alive at a time. Aim trainers are even better in this regard, since their challenges are tailored to beating your own high score, which is how you should challenge yourself. Personally, I stayed with bots, because your brain learns through repetition. The more often you repeat something, the better your brain gets at that thing. Faster, more accurate, more effective. And even though aim-trained scenarios deliver tailored training, I wanted my brain to be trained to shoot at player models, actual player models, instead of abstract balls. Optimally, you want to combine both to get raw training from the aim trainers and then the application in-game as well. However, again, I haven't touched aim trainers at all and only practiced against bots. My suggestion is this map. Do 15 minutes in the middle against the bots, try not to let them jump inside the ring, and afterwards fly out with no clip and do 15 minutes in the corner shooting them while they run at you. Here again, make sure not to let them touch you and incorporate your counter-strafing here for CS2. That's all I did. That's it. No big secret. No insanely long training routines. 30 minutes a day and 2 matches of comp. That's all it is. I will continue this challenge and see if I can get my reaction time even lower by using aim trainers, so stay tuned for that video. Also, last but not least, can your equipment hold you back? Yes, it can, to some extent. If you play, for example, on a non-gaming laptop, you might get some unwanted input lag that will increase your test scores. Same goes for any iPad, phone. Never use a touchscreen. It's really gonna influence your scores. Don't do that. Only use a PC for that. Also, the refresh rate of your monitor will have an effect on your performance. 60Hz monitors will add at least 16 milliseconds of delay, probably some more considering a potential frame mismatch here and there. However, 240Hz monitors will put that number down to only 4.16 milliseconds. So the higher the better, but there's a fast diminishing return here. Obviously, the polling rate of your peripherals should also be at least 1000 Hz to not any delay, and that's about it. You should be good to go. Also, fun fact, caffeine does improve reaction time, so if you're looking for a small cheat code, you know what to do. If you're still having trouble with your reaction time, then stay tuned for my next video where I'll talk about techniques. But until then, I'll see you next time and let's go figure out.